Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Good Morning Abuja on MT Channel 5 for Unity Station. Yes, right now we have our first guest in the house, and he is a teacher. You know, teachers go through a lot of stress. Now we want to look at stress relief techniques for teachers. So we have Mr. Joshua Anako in the house to discuss with us. Good morning.
Morning, ma'am.
Good morning, sir.
My pleasure to be here. Thank you very
so
much.
much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's start by looking at some of the stress you go through as a
Okay,
teacher.
I would like to start first by giving a formal introduction of myself. My name is Anako Joshua from Benford International School. And talking about stress, if we must get straight to what are these stress that we face as teachers, we must first and foremost understand the concept of stress. Stress in itself, if you ask me, it's a kind of natural human responses to circumstances and unfavorable situations, that we consider a bit too lofty for us to manage well, proper management of the mind. It's also important for you to know that though stress might transcend to the physical aspect of our predispositions, it might also transcend to our health, but we must understand that stress is first a matter of the mind. It's a matter of the mind. So if you ask me, it's like an emotional disease. So if you definitely manage stress well, then you must gain a mastery. You must gain total mastery of your mind condition. Understand how your mind works, gain a mastery of it. Then stress will be properly managed by you. So if you now ask me what are the stress that we pass through as a teacher, the common ones I would like to identify are, firstly, noise. As a teacher, you can't totally
Yeah, you can't avoid
take
that.
away noise.
Shouting
Every
and
time noise is
noise.
everywhere, either from even the teachers or even as commonly as we experience from the students. We are often faced with that challenge of noise, and most persons don't have that mental strength to handle
To
noise
block it.
properly. That's number one. Secondly, again, if you ask me about what those things are that brings about stress, we also have work pressure. Sometimes you are just under pressure,
Yes, to meet up.
the principal is just at you, your
Yes.
vice principal, and then you're just looking around, what am I going to do? And then before you know it, your time is flying and you're just running, sometimes even at night we don't sleep. Well, it's one of those sacrifices we need to put in place to make sure we mold these children, right? Then another thing that might also bring about stress is mastery of technical concept, like your field of study or what you are teaching in class.
Okay, when you're aware
Sometimes,
of what
yes,
you're
if you are not very, very versatile or you've not
Mm.
mastered the concept properly, then you find yourself having some mental pressure. This feeling of, can I meet up? Am I
Yes.
really good enough?
Yes.
Can I really meet up with what they are demanding of me? It can also bring your mind down. And again, another thing that could lead to stress is childish exuberances from our children. This is different from noise. Sometimes the children are just all over you. Sometimes you're talking to a child and the child will be like, hey, what are you talking about? I don't like this. My parents don't treat me this way. And you're trying to just bring the child off that shell. Come on, it's not like that. Listen. The child said, if you're not willing to listen to me, don't. And they're not even
That
willing
is
to
the
consent.
attitude
So
from the
sometimes you
kids.
find a teacher running around in his mind, how do I bring this child down?
Or how
So
do I
these
deal with this
Yeah.
particular child?
very well. So
Yeah.
these are just the things that may
Interesting.
commonly give stress to a teacher.
Well, that's a lot on the
That's a
teachers,
lot.
I'm telling you. So,
Yeah.
what are some of the relaxation techniques you use to elevate or bring down that stress from your demanding jobs?
Okay, talking about the techniques that might help a teacher manage his stress or her stress properly. The first one I would like to say is passion for your work. Passion is an innate drive. It's like a propelling force.
Yeah.
Something that helps you to surmount whatever problem you come across, whatsoever the child is throwing at you, whatever the circumstances of the work is holding at you, because there is innate passion driving you.
Okay, when you
Just find
remember
yourself prevailing over them, and it becomes so natural to you that you flow.
So you will not see it
Yes,
as labor.
you won't really see it as one
But what
big
are
deal.
how do you now relax? Let me ask you.
Okay, I'm still going into that. Another one is your smile. When you smile, and you have this smile and this feel good of a thing. It's a feeling. When you have this in mind, it has a way of, in fact, it's been recorded by research that when you smile at all time, it has a way of helping you
Ease
renew
off
your
stress.
age and ease of stress.
Okay.
It releases some hormones inside you. Then again, extracurricular activities. When you
Okay.
take a break, you engage yourself in other extracurricular activities. Sometimes, like sports, we do have sports in our school, very,
Okay.
very big time. And sometimes some teachers feel like, I can't
I'm
engage
too
myself in
tired,
this.
and then
Or
you bring in
I'm so
exercise.
gorgeously dressed. I don't want to be involved in this. I don't want to feel sweat. But these are the things that we need. So I want to say that to all teachers out there: the game period or sport period is not just for the children; it's also for the teachers. It will help you. It will help you. Then another one is the kind of food we take. There are some anti-stress food substances that have been identified or that has been discovered over time. Things like some fatty foods, like some food that contains omega-3 fatty acids.
Okay.
Things
Okay.
like permit me to say that I speak as a biochemist. You may not understand what that really means. Omega-3 is talking about a fatty acid class. So, and it contains some of these substances that can ease stress,
Okay.
some oxidative stress and some other stress that are being generated by metabolic reactions going on in our body. And foods like your seafoods, like your salmon, like your mackerel, and then even some leafy vegetables and some nuts and all those things, they help to ease stress. And another one is taking a proper time to sleep and rest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even if it is
That's the number
1,
one for
2
me.
hours. Most of the
Yes.
time we get so cumbered with our work, and then we walk, and then, in fact, sometimes for me personally, walking has become like one thing I enjoy doing. Sometimes I don't sleep at night and properly, like just 3 hours, and I'm fine with it. And I
Oh.
begin to think, what's really happening to you? You're not like this before.
I
You
hope
could
it will
sleep.
not accumulate and get to a point
Yeah.
to break down.
Yeah, that's
That's it, yeah.
so
Okay.
sometimes the work gets you so off track that you begin to forget these necessities, and you may not feel it immediately.
You don't feel
So
it,
you need
but
to
then
be deliberate
time.
about,
Yes,
yes, with
deliberate
time,
about
With time and
accumulatively.
age.
It could lead
Yes.
to that. So you need to be deliberate, have your proper rest hours. From this time to this time, no matter how busy I am or no matter how free I am, I must rest. So by the
Okay,
time you
okay.
put all this in
Sorry,
place,
from your own point of view, do you think that hobbies or recreational activities
yes.
can also help you unwind and ease of stress?
Yes, that's at the aspect of extracurricular activities I mentioned.
Okay.
Not only sports.
Mm.
You go out for some things you like doing, and sometimes you go out for swimming, sometimes you go out for
See a movie,
socialization,
okay.
watch movies, cinema, and all those things. When you have that atmosphere, it releases some hormones or
The stress
some things
hormones.
inside you, like dopamine, like some hormones like dopamine, some hormones like ergosterol, and some of those hormones that helps you to ease tension, and serotonin. We call them feel good hormones in biochemistry.
Wow.
So these are the things that I think will help the teacher to
Okay.
to rest.
So you made mention of exercises in school.
Yeah.
So can you please a little bit elaborate on that so that not even the teachers,
Yeah.
we ourselves, we need it. How
Yes.
do you now take your
Yeah.
your stress
The
away?
stress
Oh,
For me,
right.
I like to go back home and then switch off the lights and just be on my own. I call it my me time. And my kids do know about my me time. So can you just tell us more on how we can, you know, bring the exercises and other routines that will help
or the
us?
type of exercise you want
We should do.
Okay. To say much on that, I would like to first and foremost pinpoint this. When it comes to exercise, number one, you must have it. You must have time for it, time allotted for it. Yes, as I said, it could be even apart from teachers, many other persons
So you
workers
must
are very, very busy.
intentionally
Yes, you
create
must create the
time
time. Let
for
it be in your
that.
schedule. Let it be part of your schedules.
Okay.
All right. For instance,
Is it possible?
yes, very, very possible. For instance, I myself, I walk through from Monday till Fridays, and even sometimes on Saturdays, but I make sure my period of playing football. You can take that from me. You can take that from me. I make sure I go for my football at weekends. I have that time.
Oh.
Then also coupled with the little one I do in school with the
Okay.
children. And also, it's just all about sacrifice because these things are going to pay for you later on. You can wake up early in the morning, let's say around 4 a.m. to 4:30. You can just wake up, do some little workout, like you can just do some little push up, stretch your muscles, your nerves, relax them. maybe couple with either your children or anybody, you can just help hold your leg and just, relieve yourself and some of those things. It helps you to, get you ready for the day's task, and it release some of these hormones I mentioned earlier. So these are things I can mention.
Okay, you know, they always say the teacher's reward is in heaven.
Yeah.
But we know that they need the reward.
It's right from
Very
here.
well.
Yes, so I want to ask a teacher, or should I say, do you have association where teachers gather, they have for like during
Like a
holidays,
forum or
a
something.
forum where you have
All right. First and foremost, I would like to disabuse the mind of those who think that teachers' rewards are only in heaven. I think that's one of the reasons why teachers are being taken for granted these days, and it's pathetic. It's quite pathetic. Teachers are supposed to be one of the substances that are well treasured in this nation, because when it comes to human resource, resource of the mindset and what they provide, in training up children to become what they are eventually going to become in the future. You can't just sideline them. So if you say teachers reward are only in heaven, we are going to keep sidelining them, and there is never going to be anything to it. So I would say, for Benford, where I'm coming from, I must really mention this. Benford is a place to be. Benford has provided a lot of good platforms that, for me as a teacher, I don't need to join any association. I'll give you an example. Just this last week, we had 4 routines of different parties. And of all these parties, the teachers were, fully involved, and they were fully being endowed with different gifts, and they have time for fun, they have time to, cool off the stress and all those things. I think I would like to say, even though there might be some association a teacher might want to join, let the school also take into consideration, what are we doing for our teachers? How can we help them? How can we make them better? As Benford has been doing for me, I would say.
because so you're indirectly saying that
The school should be
also
intentional
help
Yes, should be
ease
intentional
the stress that
about
teachers
yes
face.
about that. So the school has a role to play, a very big one at that. But I would also say to individuals, even if your school is not that good enough to do that for you, don't let that jeopardize, because it's actually for your own gain. Don't let that jeopardize what you intend to do for yourself. So if the school is not providing you with that, go out with it and find
So
a
when
way
you made
to
mention
satisfy
of the
yourself.
school and other things, how about what do you think about the parents should do in helping you relieve that
Even the
stress?
government.
The government. When it comes
No,
to
when you talk about the government, you're talking about government schools, but then when you are talking about the private schools,
yes,
that's where the school proprietor or whoever is in charge
Yeah.
Okay.
takes care of that.
Yeah.
But then when we're talking about the parents, you made mention of the kids and their little attitudes. They
Yeah.
are kids, but then they have little attitudes that at times it could be annoying. Even as parents, we know
Yeah.
it could be
How we
annoying.
manage them.
So how do you want the parents to come in and help you relieve that stress?
Okay, if you ask me, I would like to quickly do justice to the both side. You mentioned the government, I will still come there just in a minute. Let me talk about the parent first. The children are just young, they are juvenile, they are growing, and they have a little idea about what stress is itself and how to overcome it. So it's the duty of parent, first and foremost, to tailor that child, train that child on understanding what stress is. And whatever his or her activity, I mean the children now, that are going to cause stress for you as a parent and for his or herself, let it be well spelled out. Let the child know. And train up the child, to, a kind of avoid such things that might lead to stress. That's what I would say. Then you can also provide, as a parent, you can also provide things like gadget materials that can help the child overcome stress, as I've mentioned initially. Then talking about government, just in a minute, the government, basically, what I will say is that the government should first and foremost pay attention to the heart yearning of the people. And this could be done by also providing all the necessary infrastructures and things that might be needed to help an individual as a person, especially as a teacher, overcome stress at various academic levels. That's what I would say.
Okay.
Thank you so
Now,
much.
your final word, your word of advice to teachers, to parents, to even students.
Okay. The last thing I would like to say is I would like to mention the importance of socialization, socialization, and being able to create a network, of aids. Sometimes we have this popular saying that a tree cannot make a forest, and you cannot just be self-sufficient all by yourself.
Mm.
Sometimes you have put all these things in order, but yet you still find yourself still coming under stress. So, but by the time you have a proper relationship, proper relationship system, you have a good network of people you can always call for their aid and that please, I need this, I need that. But by the time you are just living a sedentary lifestyle all alone to yourself, when you need help, nobody can actually come to
Yeah,
it.
no
So I would
man
say,
is an island.
yeah, very well. So I would say, please, for everyone out there, make sure you create good relationship. Make sure you are deliberate about overcoming stress. Make sure you are intentional about all your actions and whatsoever you are doing that can lead to stress. And I see God helping us.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you
Wow.
so much.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very
Thank you
much.
so much.
Deliberate. I like the word. Say be
Yeah.
deliberate about
You have to be.
And
You
we need
have
to
to
fight
be.
stress.
Yes, we need to
You
fight.
have to be.
We need
Thank
to
you for
fight
coming on the
stress. Thank you so
program.
much. I appreciate
Really
it.
appreciate you
Thank
being
you very
here.
much.
Wow, we've been speaking with Mr. Joshua Anako, and we've been talking about the techniques used by teachers to relieve stress. He made mention of being deliberate and being intentional. Your health comes first.